a comeback, Mets fans. How are we doing right now, folks? It's your guy, Wardy. We're back at it with our latest New York Metropolitan post-game show presented by our amazing sponsors at Moomoo, the official trading platform of the New York Mets, BetUS, America's #1 sports book, and they're at SeatGeek that has you covered for all of your ticketing needs. Make sure you use Wardy10 for 10% off, baby. Hype me up. Are you kidding me right now? The largest comeback for the Mets this season. In game one there against Baltimore Orioles in Baltimore, Camden Yards, Clay Holmes gives up 5 over 5, and it does not matter. The boys rally all the way back. We were just live there on Draftneck Mark's channel there in the playback app. Make sure to check me and Mark out. We alternate who's going to host the live stream every single week that we do for playback. We had an absolute blast tonight, everybody. Not just me, him, James, Jordan Simpson, the creator of our post-game jingle, Mike from Stark Raving Sports, and we went through all the emotions, all the highs, all the lows today, folks, and we gotta break down what is a fantastic 7-6 extra innings victory for this New York Metropolitan team, folks. Spam those W's as you first chime in live on a replay. I want to see it, and I want to see those initial reactions. How hyped up are we, everybody, on this fine evening? I'm so happy to not only see Mets baseball back after the off day, but for the boys to rally back. This is how you build character, folks. This is how you dig deep. After Carlos Mendoza having head-scratching decisions, because why did you not have a reliever up in Clay Holmes' sixth inning there? It didn't make any sense to me when that was always going to be his final inning of the day, but I digress, folks. You see the bats and Brett the Hitman Beatty, Ronnie Effie Mauricio, who stays on the roster as Jesse Winker gets activated. Starling Marte's on the injured list. He'll be back after the All-Star break. Ronnie was clutching up big time. Brett the Hitman was doing his thing. And then between the Polar Bear, Mr. Smile, and then the one and only Juan Soto clutching up with runners in scoring position. What else could you ask for? This was such a balance, a back and forth victory for this amazing team that I'm so excited to break down right here, right now. How we doing, everybody? Like I said, continue to spam those W's in the chat. That is what your guy Wardy wants to see. To everyone watching a replay, continue spamming. And I want to see from you guys, what is your biggest takeaway from this dominant game? Because not only were there so many crazy things happening, you know, and things not benefiting the Mets, some dinks, some dunks of hits against Clay Holmes, and he's throwing meatballs of his sweeper. What are we doing, Clay? Then offensively, after you allow a schmuck who had a 70 array entering this ball game, pitch a perfect, an immaculate inning against this team. What was in the 5th or 6th that we saw there? And then afterwards, the Mets completely beat up on the guy. They showed exactly why this Mets team is looking like one of the best in the National League. They rallied all the way back. Alex Carrillo made his MLB debut today, gave up a bomb, but also had a nasty strikeout and had a nice inning double play there, or out, that we saw the inning prior when the Mets were in a jam. A lot to take away from this one, everybody, but like I said, continue to spam those W's. I want to see how you guys and gals are feeling right now. We are going to get into, obviously, a lot that happened on the pitching end, and I want to see you guys that have it marinated in your head right now. How would you grade Clay Holmes' final line today on a scale of 1 to 10? I already know what I'm going to say, but we will get to that later on the show once we've already broken down more in his final line. Again, Mets pitching wasn't sexy with Clay Holmes today. He was great until he wasn't. Carlos Mendoza felt like he hung him out to dry, and I'll expand on that in a bit. Outside that, though, the Mets got the job done. Between Reed, Edwin shutting the door down, and Huascar looking like a bulldog. And offensively, how the Mets finished the ball game is why you see Travis Jankowski. Because a key discussion we have to have tonight, folks, is that the Mets pinch hit for Mark Vientos and went the lengths of just bringing Jankowski to lay down a bunt. You have to wonder what that means for Mark Vientos going forward with this Mets team. The fact that they were not willing to put him in that high leverage spot there where the Mets were trying to add more runs. It's an interesting take for certain, everybody, but a lot of breakdown in this one. Thank you kindly for the donation, Dave, my man. One of the best games of the year, LFGM, Dave, thank you so much for the donation. Dave, also, thank you so much for everything you sent my way. Also, PB9, thank you so much as well. I'm going to be shouting you guys out in content tomorrow. Be on the lookout for it, just because I don't have the things that you sent my P.O. box recently beside me right now. They're in another room, but thank you guys so much again, Dave. You know how much I love and appreciate you. PB9, same applies. I will get to you guys more in a second, folks, but now, as we always do, guys, after a big victory, after a fantastic 4-run comeback victory, folks, we got to let it rip, as we always do, with the one, the only, the official WardyNYM post-game jingle, baby. Let's effing go. Let's do this, baby. Let's go.
Postgame. Postgame. Calling
Shout out to my guys Greg and Jordan, as always, with the post-game jingle. You guys know the drill there. Love it or hate it, it is here to stay the same way that we got a lot to get into, everybody. So thank you guys kindly. Pat W with a $5 holla. Thank you kindly for that, my friend. Let's get into this one. A love-hate relationship with Mauricio. Good batting defense, just mental error in the ninth. Good game offensively and bullpen, 100%. Again, a lot to break down on this one that I'm excited to do so here in a second, Pat. Thank you for that quick recap and that donation. Juliet, great member with a $5 holla, states the following. Mendoza made a big statement when he pinch hit for Vientos. I tend to agree. Trust me, we are going to be breaking down our initial reactions of that and ultimately what we think is next for this Mets team. Shout out to Eric Roper, great member on the platform. Rebecca, great member. How we doing? Good tube. Stevie Buns, how are you? Giovanni, Nico, and Nika, how are you? We got Mike, we got OMG, we got Jay, we got Alvin, great member. Adorable, great member. We got Rebecca, great member. We got AJ in the chat. Carlos, Adrian, Gaten, how are you? We got Geraldo in the chat. We got Scott. We got Giovanni. We got PB9. Again, thank you so much for being here. Mike Nixon, so sorry to hear that as well, my friend. Thinking about you. My condolences, and we're all going to be thinking about you big time. Rose, how are you? G. Fletch, as always, great member of the chat. How are you? Thank you so much for being here. Josh, great member. Irv Walls, great member. Going up the list, everyone watching live in the chat right now. Andres Chalk Bun, going up here. Christian, how are you? Killa, Chris Norden, Damien. If I miss anyone, I apologize, but I'm doing my best here. Go Mets, how we doing? Great member. Kevin Flores, all you guys, come one, come all. Bobby G. If you guys would like to become a member, not only for exclusive, more live shout outs and more interaction with your guy Wardy in the chat, you guys can check it out, link down below in the description, but you guys will also be able to get a every single month, at minimum, one live stream with your guy Wardy for our Q&A segment. We will be doing that again closer leading up to the MLB trade deadline, probably one of the days throughout the All-Star break, so be on the lookout for that, folks, because we're going to do it with just our members, and we have just over, I think we're around 150 to 200 members thus far, so if you guys want to join, feel free to do so, but no pressure whatsoever. Thank you guys, Manuel, with the $2 holla as well. I appreciate that, Manuel. As crazy as June was, we can tie for first. LGM, absolutely, my man. Thank you so much for that donation. I appreciate that. Mike Nixon, thank you, Wardy. I appreciate you very much. I appreciate you, Mike. Thank you again so much for being a part of this. Paula, we ran the jingle already, but we'll do it again before the end of the live show. You just got to remind me. That's all I ask. Mario, how we doing? I get that Vientos has been very off this year, but like, isn't this the most sophomore year player? It's a sophomore year. Amazing first player, but very poor second year. Maybe Mark will bounce back, but it's up to, obviously it's up to him, and we'll see, because in the case of Mark Vientos especially, we just need consistency. Sadly, he doesn't have that right now. We know he lacks the confidence, and now when you're getting guys like Mauricio blossoming as much as he is, it kind of throws a greater wrench in for him, because the Mets aren't in as dire need to have Vientos playing at the hot corner every day, because they have multiple options, and not only what you see in Brett Beatty, but also Mauricio, who is fantastic on turning double plays. They made some very nonchalant backhanded picks as well that we saw at the hot corner. Now, granted, I don't think that's going to work every time, but it worked today for the most part, so again, never going to complain about that. Seriously, guys, very amped to get into this one. A couple things I do want to break down real quick, though, is, as always, hit that like and subscribe button on your way in, folks. Help us get to 34,000 subscribers for our next short-term goal. We cover the Mets every single day on the platform, win, lose, or draw, and we go over news, rumors, live streams like this, pre-recorded videos, various updates, everything regarding the team, exclusive interviews, you name it. Make sure to check it out by hitting those buttons. And also, hear a quick word from our amazing sponsor on the platform at Moo. Hey Mets fans, if you love diving deep into the numbers like WAR or ERA, then you absolutely are going to love what today's video sponsor Moo brings to your investing game. Think Moneyball, but this time for your portfolio. I'm beyond excited to share that Moo, the proud trading platform of the New York Mets, is here to level up your investing. Moo is a global trading platform currently serving over 25 million users in markets like the United States, Canada, Singapore, and Japan. Whether you're just starting out or if you're a more seasoned trader, Moo's app and desktop platform offers commission-free trading on stocks, ETFs, and options, no contract fees either. So plus, you get premium tools, guys, whether it's going to be the institutional grade analytics, Morningstar research, and analyst ratings, all free for funded users. And right now, Moo is doubling down for Mets fans. Sign up through my exclusive link down below, make a qualifying deposit, and get up to, 60 free stocks, plus not one but two Mets Suite tickets. Not to mention, Moo customers can get free tickets to all Monday home games at Citi Field, and who knows, you may even see me at a game. And with zero commissions and zero contract fees on stock and ETF options, you keep more of your wins. wins. Are you guys ready to trade smarter? Download Moomoo now and swing for the financial fences. And shout out once more to Moomoo for being an amazing sponsor here on the platform. All right, guys, now let's get right into this one. And like I said, let me see how everybody is feeling here. What day is it? Because I have no clue. I'm all over the place. Wardy says it's okay. It's Tuesday night here, 10:44 p.m. Eastern, and let's get into all the key takeaways from this amazing victory. Like I said, there was a lot to certainly enjoy about today's game. There was also a lot to not like at all. A tale of two tales, right? And my biggest concern, like every single one of you, and I was sharing this reaction in the playback app earlier with Draft Deck Mark, James Shiano, Mike, and Jordan Simpson. Mike from Stark Raven Sports, if you know, we know, is that when the Mets are down, especially on the road this season, let alone 4 runs, if not more, the likelihood of the Mets coming back has felt like slim to none. The Mets had a 19-25 record on the road entering today's game 1 here against the Orioles. In a very Metsian fashion on the road, they're absolutely looking horrendous with their bats, at least throughout the first half of this ball game against Mr. No Name, there Young, who is starting the right-hander for the Baltimore Orioles. And naturally, when you see the Mets down by 4, a Mets team that has not been able to come back by this many runs down so far this season, you're feeling more pessimistic and you think, oh great, the Mets are just going to roll over and die here, because that's been their continued problem there on the road when down that we have seen. That is not the case, nor is that the story whatsoever is what we saw in this ball game. Two tails is what we saw, and that second tail that we saw and ultimately witnessed is what is, I think, a great character builder for this club to take into game 2 tomorrow, and then obviously hopefully the remainder of the week. Like, these are the kind of victories that really can get a team going, and honestly I hope that not only this continues, but should it will, I just hope that there isn't too much momentum that gets killed because of the All-Star break, because we know that can unfortunately happen as well. This was a fantastic game. Jesse Winker's first game back, mind you. He only had a couple at-bats before he was pinch hit for Vientos later in this game that we saw. It's not like that really helped anything, as Vientos did not stay in this game all that long either. But again, folks, we're going to talk more on Mark, Jesse, and everything in between here in just a second. Alec, thank you so much for the donation. Alvin, thank you so much. Dave, thank you as well. Dave says defensively, Terrence is incredible. Terrence has been absolutely nails defensively, but we know offensively he has been very Jekyll and Hyde and what you're getting. And funny we say that, as Francisco Alvarez, who hit himself a go-ahead RBI single for the Syracuse Mets today, and who's been looking great with a bat down there, has been absolutely praised big time by JP Arancibia, who we know is the leader of the pack there for the Syracuse Mets. And JP, a former MLB catcher, mind you, has spoken glowingly about how Alvarez basically needs to go back to his 2022-2023 self, very contrasting to an Eric Chavez who's went out of his way to state the opposite on how pretty much it's not sustainable for Alvarez to play the game that he did in his rookie breakout year in 2023. It's almost like we can sense what the problem might be here, everybody. Who would have thought? We'll expand more on that here in a couple minutes later on the show, everybody, as well as content tomorrow, I'm sure. Alvin with the $2 holla says, no reason why Mets shouldn't sweep the O's. I 100% agree, but again, if it doesn't happen, it's because sweeps are always easier said than done, regardless of who you're playing. Alec with a $5 donation. Former Met Dom Smith helped us out again, putting the Giants ahead of the Phils. Shout out Dom. Dom's been playing some very good baseball for the Giants. I know, at least in spurts. I know that they, as a club, have not performed well the past month, but I know that the last time I checked in on Dom, he was performing pretty well there. Let's see. The Blindbeard, my man, how are you? $5 holla. LFGM, don't know how to be a member, or I tried. It is very confusing. Wardy Day is very expensive, and right now you're awesome. No worries, Blindbeard, if you can attend, my man. Again, thank you so much to everyone that has been going out of their way to attend. I'm actually going to show you guys the Wardy Day clip in a second, and then we're going to break down this ball game. And the reason why I'm going to be running this every single day, guys, is because of the fact that Wardy Day is now just 3 weeks away. We're going to be promoting it plenty because I want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to take part in it should they wish to do so. It's the first of many that we're going to be doing at Citi Field, Blindbeard. Thank you so much for the donation. Soda looks miserable. Patrick Flanagan, thank you so much for the donation. Oh, he's an absolute schmuck, can't you tell? Ronald, if you'd like to become a member, there is a link down below in the description live show. Just scroll down a little bit and you see become a member, and there's a link right there. Click that and it'll give you your membership options to choose from. Brian Mio, Wardy's my spirit animal. No, Brian, you're my spirit animal, my man. Juliet, thank you so much for the membership as well. Gifting that to Gary Elite. That was very kind of you. Really do appreciate that. I appreciate all you guys, and I'm always happy to break down Mets games, but especially after a victorious one. This was such a fun ball game. I just can't get over the fact that I genuinely did not think that tonight was going to be an entertaining night to talk about the Mets at all. I was complaining about it just a couple hours ago. I'm like, oh, I cannot wait to do my post-game show, and I was saying that sarcastically because truthfully, outside of the fact that I love you all to death and interact with thousands of people nightly, it sucks to break down bad Mets games, especially if it's game one of a series against a bottom feeder of an Orioles team, regardless on how much they've been heating up more over the past couple weeks. The O's have been what their record has shown, regardless on how we feel about it. And because of that reason, I expect this Mets team to go out and ball out. They didn't do it right away, but they did it when it mattered most. They clutched up down the stretch, and that's why we're so happy to break it down. Final thing from your guy Wardy, folks, let's listen into our official big event. In case you guys don't know, you are going to know right here, right now. Listen up. It's Wardy here, and as you can see, we are at gorgeous Citi Field, and folks, you can get the ultimate, the prime experience with your guy Wardy at our first ever official Wardy Day. August 1st, Mets San Francisco Giants there for the evening game. The day after the MLB trade deadline, you, your friends, your loved ones, select Mets fans will get the ultimate experience with your guy Wardy. Not only are we going to hang out at the ball game together, but folks, look at the seating. We're going to be live here in the left field lounge. You guys will be able to chop it up with your guy Wardy. We're going to be debating as to who's the best pitcher of the rotation outside of Kodai Senga. We're going to be talking about who's the next best prospect to get called up. How do we feel about the trade deadline acquisitions? And guys, as you get back up here then, we are going to be giving you a $18 drink voucher, and with that drink voucher, you guys are going to be able to hit up the bars that we have right outside of here. So easy, so accessible. Again, prime seating, a truly fantastic experience. Our first ever Wardy Day here at Citi Field, guys, where you will get a chance to hang out with your guy Wardy. And the best part too, not only is it this amazing lounge in left field that you guys will hang out with me, but we're going to be on the field, pre-game access there for a group photo op. So I hope to see you, all you amazing Mets fans there. Click the link if you guys haven't already there to check out our available tickets, and let's go Mets. And not only are we going to be sitting here throughout the course of the ball game, you guys can also check out these seats that we have access to all here in the bar area here, right at the Milagro, where you guys can utilize your $18 drink voucher. Again, this is going to be at Wardy Day, August 1st, 2025. Oh wait, yeah, almost forgot. It's also fireworks night. Bang! Hope to see you guys there. All right, guys, you heard Wardy himself talking from a previous time. Make sure to get your Wardy tickets should you guys have interest. It's pinned here, linked in the chat, and everyone watching replay, I will have it pinned down below in the comments, and it's in the description, so you guys can't miss it. Thank you so much in advance. We're going to have a blast, and I didn't mention that in the thing, but I'll tell you now, we're going to be doing a post-game live show from our seats in that left field lounge, and we're all going to be hanging out together as well there for the fireworks after the fact. And who knows, the Mets acquire anyone of significance by the deadline. They could be making their Mets debut that very next day. Newsflash, that's the game that we're attending for Wardy Day. So be on the lookout, guys. Couple more things. Ruben, thank you so much for the $5 holla. $5 holla from your boy, the Pope. Oh, my man. How are you? Thank you so much for Shaman, brother. Sucks we missed you at Queens Baseball. I know. I want to be there. Trust me. I was very upset that I did not attend that Subway Series game, but we'll definitely see you again soon. Shout out to my guy there, the Pope on X. If you guys don't know, he's a fantastic follow. So is everyone, the Queens Baseball crew, Master Flip, Keith, the Shane Sons Pod, Keith and his brother. All of them are fantastic people. Make sure to check them out. I can't wait to hang out with them at a ball game soon enough, everybody. But all right, guys, enough of me rambling about things outside of the ball game itself. You want to break down this ball game? I want to break down this ball game. Let's talk about how electric it was. These are one of these games I'm going to look back at this season and say, oh my God, this was the game that was a statement in the right direction. That's what I want to say at least, right? Because toeing the rubber again, you had Clay Holmes tonight, and facing off here was the schmuck who had a 7-year ERA entering this ball game, and Mr. Young for the Orioles. And I'm saying to myself, come on, I'm not expecting to be batting practice, but can we please, and I'm begging you, can we please just get some early runs on this schmuck? And unfortunately, the Mets were not able to do that. Will an $18 voucher buy a beer? El good, it will. It will. Yes, you're basically getting a free drink from me for exactly that. I would have been able to do more, but unfortunately, that was the best I was able to get there with the Mets, especially for a first-time eventer. But the great news now, everybody, is the fact that I'm working with them and you guys are buying those tickets is that we're not only going to be doing more events, but we get first dibs on certain things now, which is the awesome part as well. So when it comes to more, last minute events, especially postseason potentially, there's a great opportunity that we're going to be able to do that as soon as this year because of this event taking place. So again, if you guys want to attend Wardy Day, please don't hesitate. Click the link in the description, click the link in the live chat, click the link in the comments down below. You know the drill there. As we get back into this one though, folks, in the first, we see 1, 2, 3 for the Masons. They go down and Nimmo and Soto struck out. So I'm like, okay, so all right, just snoozing to start this one after the off day. Typical. Unfortunately, that's going to happen every now and then. At the bottom of the first, outside of a Jordan Westberg single, that's all she wrote there, because we would see a fantastic strike him out, throw him out double play there from Gunnar Henderson striking out then to Mr. Luis Torrens getting the throw out big time that we saw on Westberg trying to steal second base. Going down with the tag there was Lindor, and that did it for the inning. So Mets defense 1, Orioles nothing to begin the ball game. Dave with the $5 haul. Thank you, Dave. Is it possible to extend trade with Pirates to get Keller, Bednar, and O'Neill Cruz? I say go for it. It's possible, but I would not say it's likely. Those are all guys that would be fantastic for this Mets team right now. O'Neill Cruz would be electric. I think he's just a change of scenery away from being better than what he currently is, obviously. He hit a home run 458 feet today off of Seth Lugo, just in case you guys are wondering how much he crushed the baseball day and against 2. And he's going to be in the home run derby now. So yeah, I'm taking O'Neill Cruz every day of the week, but he's going to cost you a lot. Mitch Keller, I like a lot as well. You guys know how I feel about him if you watch the previous content on the platform. And David Bednar, you know as well, because I had him in my top 10 Mets trade target video a month and a half ago or so this season. And I've talked about over the past year plus, even when he was struggling, because I thought then, especially, you want to buy lower on a guy that's been rather dominantly consistent in previous years in his career. But David Bednar is back to being a stud of a reliever, and I wouldn't be opposed to him at all for this Mets bullpen. You guys let me know in the chat, what is one player you hope the Mets find themselves trading for this MLB trade season leading up to the deadline? And let me know to all of our replay viewers in the comments down below. That same question applies to each and every one of you. It goes without saying that there's a lot of guys that I want. I certainly want a dominant lefty in the bullpen. And whether that is maybe a Gregory Soto from the Baltimore Orioles or to a higher degree in a Aroldis Chapman, I would find myself pretty happy in that category. Shea Langeliers would be sick. It won't happen, Rebecca, but I like the way you think. That would be absolutely insane. That would be so out of here, but I would be so for it if it actually happened. It won't, though. In the top of the second, the Mets go down in order. Jesse Winker grounds out in his first at-bat for the first time in like 2 months since going down with that grade 2 oblique strain. At the bottom of the second, we see them go down in order in the Orioles. 1, 2, 3 there. From O'Hearn to Laureano, who's having himself a quality season there for the Orioles, and Colin Cowser. Then we see in the top of the third, folks, after 2 outs, Brett Beatty, the hitman, gets on with his first single of the day, but then Nimmo unfortunately flew out to end the inning. In the bottom of the third, we would see the offense get kickstart here for the Orioles. Cedric Mullins, potentially future New York Met, lean up to the trade deadline. You guys let me know your thoughts about that. He gets on with a 1-out walk, and then we see after a Jacob Stallings ground out, Jackson Holiday would give them the 1-0 lead that we saw there in the inning. Afterwards, Jordan Westberg would strike out. Again, nice pitch there by Mr. Clay Holmes, who just reared back with the gas. That did it there for the third, but not before the Orioles took a 1-0 lead. The A's over the Braves are winning 9-0. Oh my, yes, please stomp on their graves. Until the Braves are officially dead entirely this year, we must stomp on them. Everyone must stomp on them. That's what I got to say about that. Jeff Lopez, how are you, my friend? Happy to have you in the chat, baby. All things Mets talk. How are you? Happy to have you. Jose Lopez, Mr. Chicken, No Name, Home Run. Thank you guys kindly. Zach Flakerton, how you doing, Zach? Thanks for chiming in to the watch party a couple minutes ago, too. We appreciate that. Everyone else that did, too. You guys are awesome. Ricardo, great member. How we doing in the chat? We got Ian. We got Rose. We got Kevin Flores. All you guys, come one, come all. Let me know your thoughts here. We want Ohtani. I mean, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to figure out that every team in baseball would like a Shohei Ohtani on their club. Juan Soto, though, who I certainly love, got on there with a 1-out single that he ripped to the right side. Really hit that baseball well. And Soto, when I tell you hit it well, he hit it 108 miles per hour well. I mean, he just smoked the baseball off a Yun here that we saw middle. When you get a changeup down the pipe, what do you think's going to happen? But unfortunately, the Mets weren't able to get anything else going as Alonso grounded into an inning-ending double play. Fun fact, even though it's not fun if you're a Mets fan, Pete Alonso, as fantastic of a year that he's been having, he's top 6 in Major League Baseball in double plays. Juan Soto is ahead of him. I think Juan Soto's 3rd or 4th on that list, and I think Alonso's 5th or 6th. So not ideal, but at the same time, it's okay because this ball game gets better. And Alonso certainly clutches up as this ball game goes on. At the bottom of the 4th, though, we see a 1-2-3 there. Nice inning of work there for Clay Holmes. Mind you, Clay Holmes was really cruising in this ball game until he wasn't. And the unfortunate thing that we're going to get into in a second is how this could have been avoided to a degree if we had a manager today that was more cognizant and understanding of the situation. This is something that has fluctuated with them before, for. I just don't understand why he continues to make these little mistakes. And I'm going to expand on that in a second, because in the top of the fifth, we see the Mets go down in order. It's an immaculate inning somehow, some way for Mr. Yan. He strikes out Winker, he strikes out Jeff, and he strikes out Torrens. We get to the bottom of the fifth inning, everybody, and we see Colin Cowser have himself a single. Cowser there gets on with a leadoff single. Tyler O'Neill strikes out. What a bad season Tyler O'Neill's having. Mr. Biceps need to be back in Boston, take advantage of Fenway Park the way he's not taking advantage at all of the dimensions there in Camden. Cedric Mullins would ground into a force out, everybody, and that would be 2 outs then. So then we see Cedric Mullins would probably steal his 11th bag of the year. And when I tell you this is easily one of the most impressive stolen bases that you have seen this year, let me remind you guys. We all thought at first, okay, did Brett Baty get the tag down? No. The perfect last-minute swim move there by Cedric Mullins to move his left hand to get it evaded away from Brett Baty and to keep his foot on the slide for that tag was fantastic. But Jacob Stallings, who lives rent-free in my head, because fun fact, and again, this is not a fun fact if you're a Mets fan, so I should just say it's a fact, because that's all it is. Back in the 2021 Metropolitan season, everybody, who attended the walk-off Grand Salami victory for the Pittsburgh Pirates over the Mets, with Jacob Stallings being the culprit off of Edwin Diaz, and who was sitting front row right in front of the Mets dugout? Yeah, it was me, Wardy. First and only time I've attended PNC Park in Pittsburgh. I don't plan on attending anytime soon. Pittsburgh is where the Mets go to die for one reason or another. It doesn't matter how good or bad they are, they will roll over. It is voodoo magic there for Pittsburgh one way or another, and as much as that park is gorgeous, and as much as I'm a Steelers fan for football, I want nothing to do with that city at this very moment because of the fact of how much bad juju it brought. It was an expected batting average of .030 that Edwin Diaz gave up to Jacob Stallings in what was a grand slam walk-off victory. We drove home that night. I reside in Pennsylvania, but we're on the complete other side of PA. 4.5-hour drive back home that night, just after I saw my team get their teeth kicked in and their season pretty much rolled over completely. That was the same series that Lindor went down with his oblique strain, if I'm not mistaken, and DeGrom, I think, potentially had a setback. It was just from bad to worse, and I need to stop talking about my PTSD. Dave with a $5. Braves are like Michael Myers. They never are eliminated. They never are eliminated until they are. And then even when they are, they're really not. Cue the latest Michael Myers movies, because those idiots just don't know when to stop. I mean, let's continue on, though. Let's get all these tangents. In the sixth inning, guys, we would see Roddy Mauricio tie up the ball game. But how does Roddy tie it? He ties it by ripping himself an absolute nuke, everybody. What a pitch this was that was ripped by Roddy Mauricio. This was down and in on the changeup, and he just gets enough. 362 feet, pull the right side. That is Roddy Mauricio's 4th home run of the season. Ronnie, who has himself a 1,000 OPS over his past 9 games for the Mets. Let's make it north of 1,200 now with his 4th home run of the season. I was absolutely amped up when Ronnie hit that tank. A beautiful swing, nice little golf action going, and then Brett the Hitman, more like Brett doubles, because he does double. Brett with his 8th double of the season, everybody, puts a runner in scoring position, still with no outs for the Mets that we see in this inning. Afterwards, Brandon Nimmo does what Brandon Nimmo does best, and that is by clutching up, going gap to gap himself. Nimmo would rip himself an opposite field double there, his 17th of the season, and that gives the Mets a 2-1 lead right there, everybody, as Brett Baty would come in to score. Afterwards, the Mets would try to get more cooking because there's still no outs here, and then we see Lindor fly out. Then here comes Gregory Soto, who does best himself, and Juan Soto. We would see Juan Soto versus Gregory Soto, lefty-lefty Soto-Soto action, potential future New York Met Gregory Soto, currently with the Baltimore Orioles southpaw option. Consider it, Mets fans. Let me know what you think. Juan Soto lines out sharply there that we saw to Ramon Laureano. Again, it was a rip baseball. It was 110 miles per hour into the gap, but when you have one of the better defenders in right in Ramon Laureano, he's going to steal that like it's nothing. We would see then Soto intentionally walk Pete Alonso. And then here comes Mark Vientos, who's going to pinch hit for Jesse Winker. Now, I would like to make something clear. I did not hate Vientos coming in this situation. I mean, I don't love the fact that Vientos is ice cold of a bat right now, but I didn't hate the thought process behind Mendy making that decision, and here's why. Winker's faced mainly right-hand pitching for the past year. Why are we going to put him in his first game back in that spot there to face the high-leverage flame-throwing Gregory Soto? Not that he can't hit against the lefty, because I know he can, but why put him in that situation when he's been so foreign to it the past year versus Vientos, who's been platooned to face more left-handers than anything else? So they go with Mark Vientos, and then Mark Vientos does what we unfortunately were all suspecting. If it wasn't going to be a strikeout, it was in fact a soft ground out, and that does it there for the inning. The Mets had themselves at the time there that we saw a 2-1 lead, but a lack of productivity would lead us to find ourselves to saying, okay, that lead was going to be short-lived. And it was, because a half inning later, everybody, because this is where the big gripe from your guy Wardy really transpires today. Let's break it down. One big thing I got to say right here, right now. Clay Holmes was at a normal pitch count entering the 6th inning. But why did I have a problem with Clay Holmes not having anyone warmed up to begin this? Here's why. Why is Clay Holmes not having any protection whatsoever, at least consider there, in the bullpen, when he was always only going to go 6 innings today? The Mets were not going to pitch Clay Holmes in the 7th inning, even if he had a quick 6th, more than likely, because he's more on that pitch count of north of 90 pitches. And especially we know that we have seen Clay get gassed out at times when he's facing that third turn in the order, second and third turn. It just doesn't make sense why they would keep him in there, especially after that first batter. How are you not even considering warming up someone at that moment? Like, why is Lovelady at minimum not tossing in the pen by that time that you at least have one on? It just does not make any sense, let alone the fact that you not only allow Jackson Holliday to get on with a hit by pitch, but then Jordan Westburg hits a single mighty that, again, was just a good hit by Westburg. It was a better hit by Westburg than it was a bad pitch there by Holmes. Then Gunnar Henderson again saws one off there that we saw the left side. Really bad luck for Clay here, and it's bases loaded, no outs. Color me shocked, everybody, what happens with bases loaded, no out, and then you have himself face Ryan O'Hearn, one of the best batters all year long for the Orioles, an all-star for the Orioles, batting from the left side. This is where, if you had yourself a Lovelady warmed up, even though Lovelady's nothing to love out of the bullpen, you want a lefty-lefty matchup there, especially against Ryan O'Hearn. Why wouldn't you? Outside the fact that you already went through Gunnar Henderson and had that transpire. It just makes no sense whatsoever. This is the lack of situational awareness I just don't seem to understand when it comes to Carlos Mendoza. I know you're saying really in regards to Lovelady, yes, because you need to consider a reliever there in that spot. It just doesn't make sense. Or you could go to Reed, but you really want Reed Garrett in those spots to face the back-to-back lefties and Gunnar and Ryan? You probably still don't in that situation. That is where you obviously miss a AJ Minter, or to a degree a Danny Young, absolutely. But the fact that the Mets did not even bother to warm up, to even throw a guy out there to go do your soft toss in that 6th inning, is where I had a big gripe, because we saw Clay Holmes get absolutely exposed. Because after those, what were dinks and dunks of hits, things that you really can't fault too much, that being the case of Holmes, you certainly can fault Clay Holmes when he throws a backdoor sweeper more down the pipe than anything else to Ryan O'Hearn. What the hell are you doing? Literally, what are you doing, Clay? Your worst pitch that you could have thrown in that at bat, you throw it right down the pipe for the most part. Ryan O'Hearn promptly rips that for a double, his 13th of the season. That puts the Orioles up 3-2. And then you know what? After already having a bad slider today, Clay Holmes is like, let me go ahead and throw it again. Let's go and throw the sweeper there to Ramon Laureano. Ramon Laureano goes out and gets it because it catches way too much plate there towards that outside corner. That drives in another couple runs, everybody. And just like that, in the snap of a finger, the Mets, who are up 2-1, a half inning later, are now down by 4 here. 5-2 is the Baltimore Oriole lead. Albert, thank you so much for the $20. I really appreciate that, my man. You throw an amazing post-game show. Keep it up, brother. Albert, that made my day. Thank you so much for that, my friend. I hope you and your family are fantastic. And thank you again so much for that donation. Broken Jester, great memory, huge win. I'll be there next to with Big Mets sign Elf Team. Oh, that's awesome, baby. Hope to see you there. I will certainly be on the lookout. Kevin King $2 says, was this Ronnie's best game on both sides so far? I would say so. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I would tend to agree with you. I think he definitely looked impressive there that we saw today. And Clay Holmes, guys, let me just show you. Actually, I'm going to show you guys once we get to the Mets rally. I'm going to show you some clips from playback today. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. Michael Massa, how are you doing, my man? Thank you so much for being here. Going up here, again, Mets are down 5-2. Thankfully, nothing else happens that inning. It was a jam, though, because Tyler O'Neill got on with a hit by pitch after Richard Lovelady, or Dickie Lovelady, as we love to label him, because that's his nickname, gets on there, gives up a hit by pitch to Tyler O'Neill, and then we see Cedric Mullins ground into a force out, but runners out the corners, and then we see, thankfully, this was very important, we get a huge pickoff as Torrance would pick off Ramon Laureano there at third base after Alex Carrillo comes in for his MLB debut. Carrillo, the 28-year-old right-handed arm who throws gas, came in this ball game, and while he did give up a home run and he later on a meatball, there's no denying that, he still has nasty stuff. Both things can be true. It's unfortunate they gave up a bomb in his debut today, but he's also a guy that I fully expect to be more of a mainstay in this bullpen as long as he's not batting practice every time out there, and I'll expand on that here shortly, because then we see see the former Philadelphia Philly turned Baltimore Orioles Sir Anthony Dominguez. Is Dominguez like arm that you guys would like to see the Mets consider at the MLB trade deadline, everybody? I want to know your thoughts about Sir Anthony Dominguez as well. Luis Torrens gets on with a 1-out walk. Ronnie Mauricio would strike out, and then Beatty strikes out. Brutal back-to-back strikeouts there. Again, beautifully placed pitches by Sir Anthony Dominguez. Don't get me wrong, just disgusting drop there. Again, the same exact at-bats that we saw from Ronnie to Brett that did there for the inning. Then we see everybody a half inning later as we get to the bottom of the seventh. In the bottom of the seventh, Jacob Stallings lines out because we saw a really, really nice catch there in the outfield by Mr. Jeff McNeil. Then we see Jackson Holliday promptly hit his 12th home run of the season. That gives the Orioles a 6-2 lead, and this is where Carrillo, again, threw a bit of a meatball. When we look at where the pitch placement was, it was a 97 four-seam middle. It doesn't get much worse than that. In today's MLB, they're going to catch up every single day of the week, and the young 21-year-old Jackson certainly did his part there. We would see, though, thankfully, a nice strikeout on Jordan Westberg after the fact, and then a Gunnar Henderson ground out that does it there for the seventh. In the eighth inning, everybody, BrandonNYM gets on with a leadoff single. Getting the party started, folks, and this is where we're starting to get giddy, because right after BrandonNYM gets on with that leadoff single, who's clutched up big time today, is Himdor himself, Mr. Smile, our captain in Francisco, ripping what we saw his 18th home run of the season, 108 miles per hour off the bat, 425 feet. For those that are unaware, everybody, that was Francisco Lindor's biggest home run so far this season. And no, I'm not exaggerating. That was the biggest home run Francisco Lindor has smashed this year. And he got all of that one there off of the right-hander and Mr. Baker for the Orioles. So that made it a 2-run deficit, but you knew the Mets were starting to gain the momentum, specifically because of the fact that it was still no outs and you still had some key batters that were going to find themselves ripping it up big time in the lineup. And I kid you not, guys, Mark, Draftneck Mark, that you guys know plenty, when we were doing our live stream over the past hour or so, he called it perfectly. He said, hey, now it's time for Soto to get on with a little single, and then we're going to get a nice little bomb from Pete, and we'll tie it up just like that. And that's exactly what happened. Juan Soto, everybody. What does Juan do? He rips himself another single big time. This one, it's not nearly as hard hit. It's only 82 miles per hour off the bat there. Just turn on a four-seam inside, and it drops, it dunks in for a single, everybody, and that'd be huge, because then the polar bear, Pete Alonso, who has been unbelievably dominant with runners in scoring position, guys. Pete Alonso entered this at-bat today with over 330 average and over 1,000 OPS with runners in scoring position, with batters on in general. When batters aren't on base, Alonso has horrendous numbers. He's such a opposite of what he was throughout last year's regular season in the best way possible. And Alonso, what does he do, everybody? He absolutely demolishes a baseball 407 feet, 105 off the bat there that we saw him rip to center, a little right center. Fantastic home run. Pete Alonso's 21st home run of the season ties this ball game, and I'm jumping out of my seat at this point, everybody. I'm losing my effing mind. And just to show you exactly how much I was losing my mind, I'm going to actually show you guys the clip right now so you guys can appreciate it in all its glory. Well, your guy Wardy, in case you guys didn't see, this was literally one of the most fun games this season, no doubt. The way that started versus how it ended, absolutely electric, everybody. And I would like to apologize in advance, eardrums, for the clip that I'm going to show you guys, so just be on the lookout for that. But here we go.
So superstitious. I've never met someone that superstitious.
Oh, about the knife, probably.
Pete! Get out! Get out, Pete! Let's go! Come on! He knows what's up! You called it! Oh my God!
Absolutely electric, and it gets better too. It gets even better. Look at James's face too. Him sticking his damn tongue out. We were having fun. We were having fun. I hope you guys are chiming into our next watch party. That'll be on my platform sometime next week. We have yet to determine what game that's going to be yet. Playback.tv/WardyNYM. Become a free member today. Thank you guys so much for that. But as we continue on here, and this one, everybody, the Mets, again, they tie the ball game 6-6 in a fantastic fashion. We were all in disbelief. Seriously. React like a seal. I'm crying. Oh, that's hilarious. Well, how was everybody's reactions? Were you guys jumping out of your seat like that? Like, literally, the only reason why I didn't yell more than what I did, I shut up and I was closing my mouth because I didn't want to wake my son up, because that's obviously the most important thing late night when the kiddo's sleeping. But 6-6 tie ball game, everybody, and the Mets don't do anything else, right? They had all the outs to work with, but Vientos flies out. What was a better hit ball by Mark, I will say. It was his best hit ball of the day. McNeil grounds out, and then Terens struck out bad, and that did it for the 8th. In the bottom of the 8th, though, Ryan O'Hearn gets on with a leadoff walk against Reed Garrett. Then it's a huge force out there. Ramon Laureano. Then Colin Cowser, the cow and the milkman. He gets on with a single. And then here we see, folks, a huge double play that I cannot get over. All thanks to Ryan Mauricio and Pete Alonso. Ronnie gets a double play ball there from Tyler O'Neill, gets the tag there at third base, and then goes ahead and makes a throw, and Pete Alonso just makes enough of a reach there for the out. Tremendous. They challenge it, but it's upheld. It stays, and the Mets get out of that unscathed. There's still a 6-6 ball game getting us to the ninth inning. And the ninth inning, everybody. Ryan Mauricio would strike out, unfortunately, on a foul tip. And this was a frustrating at bat for Ronnie because, mind you, you're facing Felix Bautista, the flamethrowing right-hander, right? He starts you in your count there 2-0. 3-0, right? And then what happens? The 3-0 pitch is the pitch to hit. It's a fastball right down the pipe. Fourth pitch, it should have been ball 4. Instead, fifth pitch rather, it's fastball upstairs, but Ronnie was going to bite every single day of the week. Ronnie swings right under it. Again, it would have been ball 4 for a leadoff walk, but Ronnie rather swing to death than ever get on with a walk. He's very Ahmad Rosario-esque in the sense that I hit daddy hacks or I hit nothing. That's kind of the vibe that you get with Ronnie. It's been working lately, it just didn't work there in that ninth inning at bat. For Brett Beatty, though, he had a quality at bat because all he needed to do was keep his bat on his shoulders. 4-pitch walk there for the hitman, and then here comes Tyrod Taylor, who came in to pinch run for him, and TT, one of the fastest players in all of baseball, easily steals his 10th bag of the year. Great base running and great awareness there, and that was a good call by Carlos Mendoza. But sadly, Nimmo and Lindor just strike out silly back-to-back. Felix Bautista really reared in there, not just with the splitty, but what you had there in that nasty four-seam, guys. I mean, it's not fair when you get a guy touching 99, 100 like that. He was dotting those corners, and there was nothing that Nimmo or Lindor were going to do. The Mets are down in the top of the ninth rather. Then we get to the bottom of the ninth, and here comes Edwin Sugar Diaz. Edwin strikes out Cedric Mullins without a problem. Then we see Ramon Urias come in as a pinch hitter. Doesn't matter. It's an easy ground out. Jackson Holiday, what happens? Easy ground out. Great defensive plays there that we saw from Ronnie Mauricio on the second out to then Jeff McNeil there to Alonso on the third, and we're heading to extras just like that, everybody. And as we get into extras, what happens in extras, folks? Oh, it's a little bit of the following. The one and only Juan Soto rips himself a first pitch RBI single. He rips that to the right side, 106 miles per hour, right off the bat there, right against Cano. Sinker down, too much play. It's pulled, and it is a 7-6 New York Metropolitan lead. Juan Soto, who's had some of the worst numbers out of all National League eligible batters, runners in scoring position this season, clutched the hell up here big time. One of his biggest hits this season, everybody. For being completely frank, I'm taking this kind of hit over a solo shot by Soto and a 10-4 loss every single day of the week. Who isn't? So huge hitting by the one and only. That gives the Mets a 7-6 lead. Then Pete Alonso then hits himself a single. So you got runners at first and second base, everybody, with less than 2 out. And this is where we knew what the Mets were thinking when it came to Mark Vientos. Because Vientos, who came in to pinch hit initially for Jesse Winker earlier in this ball game, he would then be taken out of this ball game as Travis Jankowski, who knows how to lay a bunt like no tomorrow, puts down a perfect bunt there as the pinch hitter for Vientos, who obviously the Mets did not feel comfortable enough, and I don't blame the Mets for feeling that way. The likelihood of Mark grounding into a double play was far greater than Jankowski messing up that bunt there, and I think we could all agree on that, just given Mark's lack of production, lack of confidence, and Jankowski knowing his role as a true guy to come in as a pinch hitter or pinch runner. He's been doing this for years now, so he knows this kind of approach on the back of his hand. Not something that Vientos knows well either when it comes to bunting, so that alone was another reason to warrant why that ultimately happened, everybody. Jankowski, though, would have a perfect sack bunt, puts runners at second and third, and then afterwards, we would see Yainer Cano intentionally walk Jeff McNeil because we would see Terens then strike out, and then Ronnie Mauricio would line out everybody. Again, a nice hit ball right away. Unfortunate, Ryan O'Hearn eats it up, and that does it. But not before the Mets had themselves a 1-0 lead, but they stray what would have been a huge hit with bases loaded to add insurance. Cue the anticipation, cue the nervousness, cue what in my opinion was me getting ready to bite my nails and freak out because Oscar Brosman's coming in with the Mets up by 1 instead of going back to Edwin Diaz there. That had me losing my mind in my head. I can't lie to you guys. I really wanted Edwin to go for back-to-back. I thought it made sense, but you know what? It worked, and I have to appreciate that for what it is. When it works, Carlos deserves the credit. The same way that I call out Mendy when I'm not happy with his lack of awareness when it comes to when we're starting to warm up the bullpen is the same way that I'm going to give him kudos when he throws a reliever out there and they actually do their job in a high leverage spot where I have my natural concern. Because Oscar Brosman comes in and Brazo locks the hell in. He gets a strikeout right away on Jordan Westberg. He gets an easy pop out in the infield there that we saw to Gunnar Henderson, and then he gets an easy ground out on Ryan O'Hearn, everybody, from Jeff McNeil to Alonso, and that's ball game. The Mets go on to win this one, everybody, by a final score of 7-6. Hit that like and subscribe button on your way, and everybody, in case you guys haven't already. What an electric ball game this was for this amazing Mets team. And mind you, folks, Clay Holmes, who I did not love what I saw today, that we're going to get into shortly, entered today's ball game with an opponent batting average of 111 with runners in scoring position, the best in baseball. So it's very fitting now on the same day that that's further announced as a day he gives up 5 over 5. Ronnie Mauricio, very impressive thing about his home run, in case you guys missed it. Ronnie's home run had an expected batting average of 170. So yeah, that ball was not supposed to get out at all. That just shows you the absolute power and strength of the young slugger and Ronnie Mauricio and what he can bring to the table on an every given night. So that is what you got there in Ronnie Mauricio. That is what you got there from all those guys. And before we talk about more about the pitching, about the offense, and everything in between, I want to give a real quick shout out to our sponsor at BetUS that has you covered with all of your sports betting and casino needs, guys. Just make sure you do it responsibly. That's the most important thing. I don't want you dabbling if you guys feel like you can't handle or don't know what you're getting yourself into. But if you do, and if you feel confident, head over to betus.com.pa today and utilize our promo code YouTube150 because you're going to get a 150% bonus on your first deposit, $125 on your second and your third as well, but it's up to $2,000. Make sure to bear that in mind, folks, for whatever you want to bet on. But as we can see here, the Mets entering this series had a minus 130 odds to ultimately win this series. The Orioles were at even odds. So the Mets there, minus 130. Do you guys think that this was the right play? So far, so good, right? Mets there at minus 130 there. If they take this series tomorrow, then Bane, if you guys put $130 down, you're going to come out with another 100 or so, depending on how much you're betting. So again, guys, make sure you do it responsibly should you have interest, and do it with our great friends there at BetUS at betus.com.pa today. But as we continue on in this one, everybody, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that the Mets can go out and win the series tomorrow, the 53-39 Mets, everybody. Let's get into this and let's break down what's happening here in Mets land, because as we take a look at the standings now, folks, the Mets are still the top dog in the wild card, but you have to hope that that changes sooner rather than later. We see the Mets there at right now 53-39, 576 win percentage, and they are +3 as of now. So that is what you're getting. The Milwaukee Brewers are 52-40. The Giants are at 50-42. They've started to turn things on lately. The San Diego Padres are trying to get back in groove with guys like Yu Darvish returned and all that stuff. 48-42. The Cardinals are still in the mix, believe it or not, at 48-43. They played well above their weight so far this season. Give credit where credit's due. The Reds are 46-46, and the so unimpressive and very frustrating Arizona Diamondbacks at 45-46. Are they going to trade Merrill Kelly? Or are they going to trade Zach Gallen? If so, if I'm the Mets, I'm stepping up and saying, hey, can I get one of those guys along with a lightly used Eugenio Suarez? Thank you very much. That's how I feel about those Arizona Diamondbacks, those sinks right now, if you will. But to hop back in here, guys, let's now get into the pitching. Because when I said the pitching wasn't ideal, yeah, Clay Holmes wasn't ideal today. I think both things can be true. And you guys let me know if you feel differently in the chat right now, and to our replay viewers in the comments down below. I would love to hear it. Clay Holmes really did not look bad today. Until that 6th inning, he had it. Like, he really did have it. Like, today was another good-looking day for Clay Holmes. And it's a shame because today, even though I know he had his struggles there that 6th inning and was able to get it out, it's a shame because it really felt like he was hung out to dry. And for a Clay Holmes who, yes, he's not going to, say he was too fatigued or anything like that, but he's also going to go to bat for his manager because he wants to stay out there in the ball game. And mind you, Clay threw how many pitches today? Clay threw a total of 87, 87, mind you. And he gave up the 5 over 5. And when we look at his arsenal today, kind of what was working versus what wasn't, what did he utilize the most? That sweeper was dog shit, pardon my French. That was a big bugaboo for him today. I mean, just throwing meatballs of sweepers down the pipe. I mean, your grandma's going to hit that without a problem. The sinker at 36% of the arsenal, and that's not to slight any of my grandmas out there. I know you guys and gals got that strength, obviously, but come on. Top it out 96, sit at 95. The changeup at 21% of the arsenal, top it out 90, sitting right around 89. The sweeper at 20% of his arsenal, should have been less today, should have been at least 15. That 15% to 20% could have dictated how many runs he gave up today. Topped at 84, sat 82. The cutter at 14%, topped at 91, sat right around 90. The slider at 7%, he should have utilized that more than the sweeper. Topped out 88 and sat right around 87. And the four seam that he threw just 3 times sat right around 94 and topped out 95. So I am going to give Clay Holmes today, guys, a final line grade. 5 earned runs, 7 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts over 5 innings. Clay is going to get from your guy Wardy today a 5 out of 10. I'm not going to go lower there for Clay because, again, I do think, truthfully, that Mendoza did not help this man in any which way, shape, or form. He was never going to pitch in the 7th inning. It was idiotic to not have someone warmed up, if not to at least get slightly warmed up to begin the inning, then certainly to get a guy stretched out by the time there's at least one on. Like, what the hell are we doing here? Especially when you hit a batter to begin the inning. Like, it's just bad luck, but like, you also have to be responsive of those in-game moments. And that's where there is the lack of feel with Mendoza still when it comes to bullpen management. That's my biggest gripe with Mendy by far. I don't have nearly as many issues with him when it comes to the lineup as I do with his lack of situational awareness at times when it comes to evaluating the bullpen. And I know it's not easy, and I'm not putting endless blame on him, but I do think it needs to be noted as well, because that's something that, was certainly notable today. Outside that, the bullpen did its thing, right? Outside the fact that you had Carrillo's debut giving up the bomb, I mean, with that exception, bullpen got the job done. Gave you 5 strong innings otherwise. I'm going to give the bullpen today a collective grade, including their 1, 2, 3 strikeouts over those 5 innings and 1 earned run, and only 1 walk. Bullpen is going to get a rock solid grade today from your guy Wardy of 7.5 out of 10. Got little to complain about from the pen today. I can tell you that much. They all did their job. Certainly, they did their job. And on the hitting end, the boys did their job too. They did what they needed to do today. They did just enough. And you want to know what was very important about this victory today, folks, is that while the Mets weren't dominant with the runners in scoring position, they were still relatively productive. 2 for 9, you're taking every single day of the week. That's over the Mendoza line. And we'll take that for a team that obviously struggled mightily with hitting with runners in scoring position. But now if we take a look with this game, the Mets have been hitting, I want to say, just below 500 with the runners in scoring position throughout this stretch since they got back to their winning ways. Or they might be in more of the 350 to 400 range now, but still very respectable, a lot better than their constant, 2 for 13, 2 for 15 nights, 0 for 8, 0 for 9, that kind of stuff. They clutched up huge, and Soto deserves credit there that we saw in extras, as does Alonso there that we saw getting that big hit. Actually, no, Alonso's home run was with Soto at first. I apologize. It was Lindor's home run, which was more clutch with runners in scoring position as well, because I had Beatty there. Was it Beatty or was it Nimmo? It was Nimmo who was at second base, because Nimmo drove in Beatty. It went from Ronnie to Beatty because they went 8-9, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And a good point that we made note of in the watch parties that we were doing earlier, in case you guys didn't see in the playback app, and shout out to James for this, is that the 7 spot has been universally the spot the Mets have picked this year to play their worst batter. It's true. Terens was in the 7 spot today, and he's been the Mets' worst batter. Outside of him, it's been guys like Tyrone Taylor, right? His 8 and 9's been productive. Ronnie and Beatty have certainly done their job. Taylor came in at the end of the ballgame as a pinch runner. That's why you see him on the graphic there. But let's get into this lineup real quick. We'll rapid fire, and then I'll show you guys our reaction to the Juan Soto hit. I think you guys are going to appreciate that. As we continue on from here, everybody, Brandon Nimmo, 2 for 5 with the run scored and the RBI, 258 average and a just under 800 OPS. Francisco Lindor, 1 for 5 with 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs, 260 average, 788 OPS. Then we see the one and only Juan Soto, 3 for 5 with Juan, because Lindor had his home run, his 18th of the year, and Juan had his clutch RBI and RBI, pardon me, clutch RBI single, 269 average, 908 OPS. There we go, Juan. That's what I love to see. That's more than Juan Soto that we were expecting to get, baby. Hype me up. Pete Alonso, I'm getting giddy. I'm sorry, guys. 2 for 4 with the bomb, 21st home run of the year. Buddy's got north of 80 RBIs already. He's a dog. Already, he's almost close. Alonso's getting so close to how he performed last year already in total of RBI. It's insane. 290 average, 934 OPS. Jesse Winker 0 for 2, 232 average, 719 OPS, but we're happy to have Jesse back. I know Jesse's happy to return. And you know Jesse Winker had one of his best in-season moments for the Mets last year when he gave the Mets that walk-off home run victory opposite field off the Orioles before they kickstarted that big West Coast trip that they went above 500 between the Padres, that they split that series, then they lost the series in Arizona, and then they won the series in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken, against the White Sox. You guys remember, literally last summer, right around August, getting into later August there. But Winker, dog, happy to have him back. Always love him no matter what. After Winker, we saw Vientos go for 2. He's down to a 210 average and a 613 OPS. Jankowski, 244 average, 575 OPS. McNeil went 0 for today. A rare 0 for Jeff, who played center and second base today. 254 average, 814 OPS. Terrenz 0 for 3 strikeouts. Yeah, remember when a lot of you guys were saying how Terrenz was going to be the guy to pave the way for the Mets offensively? Yeah, catcher this year. You guys were eating that up way too early. Way too early. And I kept telling you guys, I'm like, I like him just as much as the next guy. But if you guys think that Terrenz in a consistent sample size is going to be anything greater than probably an average batter at best, I got a bridge to sell you. And this is the reality we're finding ourselves in. Terrenz, again, is a rock-solid backup, but not a guy that you want to be out there as your consistent starter. And we're seeing more of that. It's great to see Alvarez thriving in the minor leagues, however, so I'm looking forward to seeing him back with the team post-All-Star break. And yes, it will be post-All-Star break, because by the Mets keeping Alvarez in the minor leagues for the next week, to 10 days or so, means that they gain an extra year of club control in Alvarez. Really good piece of an article that came out from Will Salmon of The Athletic earlier today. I implore you guys to check out. I will be breaking that down more in tomorrow's content. But yeah, very fascinating that the Mets can actually take advantage of Alvy being down and gain a year of control on his contract. I mean, why wouldn't you do that if you're the Mets? So they were absolutely going to do that because they know they can, and they know that they don't need Alvarez to succeed at this very moment. All those things are true. What's also true is the fact that Mauricio, who went 1 for 5 with a home run today, is up to a 244 average and a 738 OPS. Beatty, who went 2 for 3, is at a 233 average and a 704 OPS. And Tyrone Taylor's down to 208 and a 570 OPS. Yeah, not loving that. And yeah, Sean, it is kind of scummy, but, at the same time, the Mets don't really need him up. So they're kind of just taking advantage of that reality, if that makes any more sense than anything else. But let me show you guys quick. I think you'll enjoy it. The other clip that we have from the big moment that happened with Juan Soto earlier.
Double down the line. Yeah, I'll take a base hit for an RBI.
I'm going to cut off the highlight a little bit because they're going to copy me and I don't want that.
Yeah! Yeah! Let's go, one. There we go, baby. First pitch swinging. Double down the line.
Let me see. Oh, the Ronnie bomb. I think we had a good reaction to. Let's check.
Were they like literally? He stays on the team and he nukes it. Were they like literally?
If you guys don't know Jordan, who is the bottom right, who is just ramping up when I paused it, that I circled for a second. Jordan and Greg are the guys who made the post-game jingle. Jordan does a great job making recap little songs, and he makes awesome covers of various different artists after every Mets series. You guys can check him out on X. He does a fantastic job. Let's see. I love Terrenz too. I got no ill will against the guy. I just think that people kind of jumped the gun a little bit with him, thinking that he was going to be this end-all be-all when not necessarily the case. You know what I mean? But that's what we got for you, everybody. In the case of how this Metropolitan team played today, they came back down 4, ultimately rallied all the way back to win this one by a final score of 7-6. Before we get on to wrapping up the show, let's make sure that Wardy didn't miss any key quotes here, anything that I want to share from the post-game interviews to get into, everybody. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Again, guys, if you want to attend Wardy Day, the link is in the description of the live show. It's pinned in the chat for all of our live viewers, and it'll be in the comments down below for our replay viewers too, so be on the lookout. This is the most hilarious immediate response I've seen Soto make in a minute. So I want to say it's Nikki from S&Y that asked this question, but I don't know it in confidence. I'm just basing it off of the voice I'm hearing. But listen to this.
What did you have like to make the All-Star team?
What do you think?
Look at him. Look at his eyes. He's like, what do you think? No, I wouldn't have liked to make the All-Star team. Like, stupid. That was hilarious.
Yeah, some people want to take vacation.
I mean, I think it's a lot of money on the table if I make it.
4 runs in a game, you're still very much in it.
We believe in the lineup we have, so there's no panic or anything. We just rolling with what we have, and we compete out there. You know, it's not gonna be easy wins. We gotta get it, so we gotta go out there and win it.
Okay. About what it's like batting behind or in front of you. What's it like batting behind Francisco and in front of Pete?
I think it's great. You know, we have a great lineup. Those guys are grinding day in, day out their bats, and putting myself in a good spot. You know, when you have a guy like Lindor that he can be in the bases and be running around and be in a scoring position, and then you have the cover from Pete that has the power and everything. So I think it's really cool.
Alrighty, folks, that is about going to do it for our latest post-game show. I would like to thank you again all so much for watching today. It was absolutely electric. I had so much fun. This is one of those games that, you know, really I hope is a nice kind of character builder, and again, a nice statement for this Mets team. Be on the lookout, everybody, as we will have content likely dropping earlier in the day for you, and then a post-game live show, win, lose, or draw tomorrow evening, everybody. And then be on the lookout because Thursday my schedule will be in flux. I probably will not be live exactly when I'm supposed to be. I may have to be doing it from my phone, so to be determined on that front. But tomorrow we will be having a big show as well, everybody, so please make sure you're on the lookout for it. And if you have any specific comments, questions that you have for me specifically that you'd like to share for next show, have them ready and ask right away. I'll be happy to get to as many as I possibly can. This was a lot of fun. Very happy to see the Amazons win, and a huge comeback fashion the way that they did, rallying all the way back. Their biggest rally of the year, down 4 runs. Not a problem for the Amazons there in Baltimore. Thank you guys again all so much for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow. Until then, have a tremendous rest of your night, day, evening, whenever you're watching this. And this is your guy Wardy signing out. And PB, because you asked nicely, we do have to run the jingle one more time. That was very good call, PB. Right at the buzzer. All right, one more time for the people in the back. Let's do it, baby. Let's have ourselves a night. Let's go Mets, everybody. Have a great one. Eric, just go. Wait. Oh, never mind. You're talking about something else. I thought you were talking about the jingle. All right, guys, let's let it rip one more time.